Okay, so sitting here playing Unhappy King Charles on the parliamentarian turn, and I notice a space. Basically, I can't do anything because the standard hasn't been raised yet, but I notice a space that's kind of vulnerable right here. Newark. Now, there's a local notable that can come in and change that, but that doesn't, I don't want to take the space because the local notable will still show up then, I assume. But what I can do, no, I can't. I thought maybe I had a local notable here that I could place one here, but it's the wrong color. Damn, I don't have a northern one. See, if I could place, well, I can do it here. So I'm going to spend a 1.1 operation card here to use the local notable rating ability for Willoughby. And I'm going to drop one here. Now what that means is this guy's cut off. If he goes into the next turn in that condition, he's going to convert over to parliamentary, and that's kind of cool. You know, that's kind of what I want to be able to do. And they're very powerful in the East because of that. Now we go over to the Royalists, and the Royalists feel like they have to do something at this point. They still have Charles Cavendish, who can affect the North or the East. Well, now that I've seen something happen bad in the East, I am going to play this because I definitely want to flip this. Another question is, well, where's my other one? I could drop a northern space. Doesn't do a lot for me, but none of the eastern spaces are going to do much. I could grab this one, it's on the border, or this one, and that's kind of the issue. I'm going to take the northern one because it's a little safer for me. And now we're back on the parliamentarians, and they still can't do much except they can still cut that space, right? No, because now there's a northern space. So that's become not really as valuable a pick for them. So now they have to look, well, what else can we do? We still have this move. Of course, this doesn't really get us anywhere. It's this one we got to get, and we don't have a way to grab that without a military. So unless we were to send someone up to fight their way through Wales, I don't think we can gain control and save that one piece. Okay, given that, we don't have a lot left, we just have points. Local notables are sort of the best bang for the buck because I can flip pieces that the enemy holds with them. Alright. Well, since I'm at 2 pointers across the board, I'm going to play my 2-point core again. And I'm going to flip these two locations. And now we're back on the Royalists. At this point, I think the Royalists need to, unless they're just going to keep fiddling around, they need to actually start the war and raise the Royal Standard. This is a once only card, so it's going to go over here into the discards. And the effect of that is, well, they don't get a turn, but it counts as one of their cards played. They have to play 2 more. They can hold 1 as an ace in the hole. The Protestants, though, now are free. They can act. And they've got a couple of cards that they kind of want to play. Now, one thing they'd like to do is they'd love to save this thing. But there's also this southern situation. There's the northern situation. There's so many options at this moment that they can take, none of which are really absolutely clearly to the advantage of others. But one thing that they can definitely say is down here in the south, which is where I won my victory in the game I played, we've got a couple of things that are kind of owning the South and allowing the Royalists to exist. One is Oxford here. If I could start a siege of Oxford, That would be cool. Does Essex have the troops? Yeah, he does. He has 3 counters. So he could start a siege in Oxford. The other one is Hampton down here. I feel like I have the troop advantage with Hampton. I have commanders. I have this battle card. I'm going to play a card, and I'm going to march hither. 1. Okay. Now, I have 3 units with Bedford, so he has 4 movement points. Question, of course, is, well, how did the Royalists feel about this? Hampton, or Hopton, has a couple good units. He's better in military. He may just want to intervene in this. He doesn't have the good combat cards, but he'd like that extra space, so he's going to try. Skill-wise, he's got a +2 bonus here, because he's got a 1 strategy, whereas Bedford has a 3 for interception attempts. So, Hopton only needs a 2 or higher to intercept. He succeeds and goes in. There's going to be a battle. The attacker is going to play his trained bands. This adds 2 to the battle if he has at least 1 parliamentary southern in battle. And it counts against the 6 cards acquired in this turn. So, or required cards in the turn. So the Parliament player could hold the last card in his hull. Alright, let's figure out what our battle is. There's no card for the Royalist player. He doesn't have one in his hand. Let's see what he's got. He's got 4 strength points plus 2 combat points. Puts him up to 6. Bedford has 2, 3, 4 plus 1 combat leadership. Puts him to 5. Right now it's +1 to the Royalists, right? But there's a +2 for this card. So it goes to +1 for the parliamentary. I'm going to use the red die for them. Let's see what happens. Both sides get a 6. That's a draw. It's a defender advantage for the draw, which means both sides have to lose an elite or veteran unit. And this is permanently gone. These go into the dead piles here. They might be able to come back from some other reason. What else happens with the battle? Well, this goes away. Let's take a look, make sure I understand things correctly, but I believe the PC does not change in a drawn battle. Yeah, there's no spoils of victory because it's not a winning army. So the attacker has to fall back and the defender's here. This was the parliamentarian turn. So now the Catholic gets to go. I'm going to take a little moment to consider his options because he's got a lot right now. Well, for good or ill, and I don't know which is which, I'm going to use my 2-point core card here to activate Charles. Oh, and this may... Oh, no, he's used both his cores. Okay. To activate Charles. And Charles is going to come down here 1, 2, grabbing this space. Okay, big deal. Now... then he's going to come down here 3. Now Fairfax doesn't want to fight him particularly. And then he's going to slide up for the 4th. Now Fairfax can try to get away from Charles. But again, Charles has a 2 strategy. Fairfax has a 3 for this. So he needs a 5 or better to get out of this battle. He does not succeed, so the battle will be fought. It's Charles versus Fairfax. Neither side has any cards. Let's count up our points. Fairfax has 2 plus 1 for his combat ability. Charles has 4 plus 2 for his combat. So Charles is at +6. Fairfax was at +3. Net effect, Charles is at +3 on the die roll. We'll use the white die for the Royalists again. +3 gives him an 8 versus 4. He's got a 4-point benefit there. 4 points? Well, that's just not quite a major victory, unfortunately. So, it's an indecisive victory. The higher score wins. The loser loses a militia, if possible. So Fairfax loses one of his northern militia. Gone from the game. Spoils of war. Charles's royalists have taken this space. And Fairfax has to retreat. Now, what are his retreat restrictions? Well, He's got a small force, so he's allowed to retreat over the mountains, which he's actually going to do. He's got the 2 movement points for retreating. Otherwise, he'd take a penalty for retreating onto an enemy PC marker, which I think kills his remaining unit. He doesn't want that to happen. That's, I believe, the entirety of the Royalist turn, because he spent, what? He came down from York, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all 4 of his movement points. He has to spend a 5th movement point he doesn't have to have fought the battle. He gets that for free because he's out of movement points, but if he wasn't, he could keep moving. Okay. So, now we're on to the Parliamentarians, and I don't feel like this card terribly is going to help me at this moment. I'm going to bank it. It's going to go in my ace in the hole card. I don't want to use it right now. Let me make sure my numbers are good, though. I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, I've got enough territories that I'm not really in danger of losing right away. So I'm safe right now. That puts it on the Royalists, though, and they must play a card. And they may want to play 2. Their cards are a 1 operation and a 3 operation. The 3 operation isn't that big a bonus for attacking with because they have 2-point leaders. If they had a local notable, for example, and they do, over here, and they have another one up here, they could convert some territory. But what could they convert? Well, the 2-point range means they can't do much with it. So a 3-point chip, they could grab a bunch of PC markers. That's kind of a pleasing idea in some ways. Can they do anything really valuable or vile by grabbing PC markers? Because, for example, they could grab all 3 of these without a problem. Would that cut anything off? Would that cause a problem? I don't see one right away that it's going to generate. I don't see a place where they're going to hurt the Parliamentarians by playing that card. Okay, well, what else can they do with that 3? They could hold it. That's useful in another turn. So why don't we use the 1-point card? Do we have any 1-point leaders? No, not exactly, but we can. We've got Rupert. Okay, so I'm going to play that 1-point operation card. It gets discarded. Rupert's going to come into play, grab these forces, and they show up under Rupert, who's a good commander. He's got a lot of troops under him now, and now he gets his activation with 4 movement points. Now, he wants to lay siege to something. The question is what? I find these guys really, really annoying. I also find good old Lord Fairfax kind of trapped right now. So here's the question. Do I want to go pursue Fairfax and try to knock him out, which I could do, or do I want to lay siege to Brereton here? They're both viable options. Are there any other kind of intriguing things I could do? I could kind of slip down this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not terribly valuable. So yeah, right now I'm looking at these 2 sieges as possibilities, both of which are interesting. This one the more so. And I'm looking at Fairfax. Let's trap Fairfax by moving here. And I'm going to open up and put a siege there. And I should have little siege markers. Oh. There is kind of a difficulty with this, which is that both Charles and Rupert are subjected to possible problems due to higher desertion rates because they're adjacent to him. But I don't view that as too big a problem because of where I am. Okay. Because I'm going to still take a 1-point desertion no matter what. Now, I've got this option on this card. I'm also going to drop it in as a whole card. Other options would definitely be available, so I could try to continue that siege and make a roll on it. Have a decent chance of taking him. Or maybe try to kill Fairfax off, or something else. I don't really want to do any of those things. This one might have been more valuable. But again, I feel okay right now. So we're going to move on after the campaign phase to the blockade phase. Well, there's no blockade in siege marker. Desertion and supply attrition. Okay, we've got a desertion of 1 right now. A 1, we're going to play with that option, which means, I believe we roll once for both players. Maybe I'm mistaken there. Let's see. Random desertion order. Both players will start at that category instead of 1, and then they rotate around. I'm not sure how much I like this, but we'll see. 5, all areas with friendly brigades. Ooh, that's weird. That allows a full option on where you want your desertions. Okay, great. I believe the parliamentarians have to choose first. I'm not sure. That actually becomes kind of an effect here. If you wish to change the desertion 1 or 6, the number is the category which both players start. Yeah, see, that's not really clear. Okay, let's see. I don't know if I really like this option. Essex can certainly take 1. And he's got Midlands and Eastern, both of which are kind of heavy already. I think I'm going to take it from Essex, and I'm going to pull a Midland one because he's got more of them than Eastern. I'm not sure which way that should go. And now from the Royalists, who wants to lose a troop here? I'll take one of Rupert. I'll take one of his Midlands as well. Okay, great. Now, there's no supply attrition because nobody has 5 or more units. Nobody has a large army. It's power base. We'd count the pieces. Hey, did anybody win? No, we already looked. It isn't going to happen. And now we're at the turn end. The game's not ending. Charles didn't surrender. So, we're going to just move this forward. Put this on to remind me for tomorrow. And the players are going to get their core cards back. In particular, the parliamentarians get their tree. Now, these whole cards stay in the hole. They're, I'm not sure what the circumstances are with them. I think you can still pull them out. They're still sort of part of your hand in that sense. But I'll have to look to make sure that they work that way. That I think they do. All right, that's the end of the late 42 phase. Now we're going to go into the winter, and I'll be doing these a little quicker, I think, as we go. Maybe next turn, 1 video for the whole turn, and then after that we may be up to 1 per year, trying to keep this to a reasonable length. Okay.